Peace. Power equality, Allah, see equality. You know how we do it. Set the record straight. Ancient on free Asiatics. Son of Man 7. Who's the original man? All that good, right? So anyway, we dealing with a lot of power cipher Y. Yeah, I mean, power cipher wisdom, equality rule. We dealing with a lot of that. Showing and proving today's mathematical equation. As we were saying in the old days, how you see days mathematics, right? So the point I'm making is from the opening, what happened was, because God said, well, how did that, not manifest itself? Where it just became most like a talk show host type shit. It became like that, right? But that's not how it started out. We started out in the old days. They started out as, what I say, they and we and that, depending on how. Because it also applies to just in general life. That's why I try to leave it neutral, right? In the names and all that, protect the innocent, right? As we add on to the cipher. So what I noticed was way back that we had the club. It graduated into the ancient order for Asiatics after we got knowledge of self. Once we had knowledge of self, we needed a place for the law school to be at. Like a law did, we was following the law's rule where he used the urban league. See what I'm saying? See the connection, you can see the correlation. And so we did that. And so at the end of the day, to make a long story short, all the guards was doing that, or were doing that, or is doing that. Is or were, right? And everybody was making knowledge born based on Quran, because we had certain reference points. So we knew about who made the Holy Quran Bible and how long ago we tells us why did Islam renew its history of 25,000 years. And like we was building on the other day, we had the culture eye guard, right? So if you're going from the culture eye guard and you're going into your power, of course, if you're in your alphabet, you're going to see equality. Pardon me. Right? You're going to see equality, man. But if you are in your mathematics, you're going to go right into the power of refinement, right? It's going to be sitting right there in your face. Or you're going to go with power, whichever one you have. Old school might have power, justice, or refinement, right? Depending on who you're enlightening is, what tree it came from, right? And so from there, you're going to travel up. So I was saying, when we hit the power point, we had gotten that power now. So, because if you ever looked at the old orders, the manifesto for the order, it was bearing witness to the fact that we had a law school. You couldn't even study the higher sciences that was in the order unless you knew and understood the lessons. Like you just couldn't, because everybody in there was already quoting 120. Most of us got together. We already had an enlightenment and quoted 120 and had did our plus degrees or whatever we knew. Now we were on our self-study. And so that's what happened. We all came together, but all of us, asked every one of us, the exceptions like my nephew and all them, they came through me, right? But other than that, and the wisdoms that was who I enlightened, like that. So, other than that, that's how it was. Now, I'm not saying as time went on, I run into another student, this, that, right? And I always would tell them who my enlightener is, and so they would know their tree. And we figured out our tree by cross-referencing what we knew and what we had experienced with the old God, now Allah. That's how we knew. He knew stuff we didn't know, filled in our blanks for us. Because after Gumar complete, we didn't know what was in between there. He filled in all of that blank for us. We didn't even know. We just went right straight to Allah from there. And then he filled in the blank. Who was Gumar Complete's enlightener? Who was Qasim's enlightener? Who was Messiah's enlightener? That's how you get to Allah. So we counted it that way. But like I said, the God gave us the information we needed. So long story short, we was at that level now. And so what happened? Look, watch. The God. When I look at the God, I don't want to say his name, but but the God know everybody that was in the order was teaching as if we were in a law school, because the law school was inside of the Urban League, like that. See? And so what happened was when we went to implement, and we didn't even try to implement the one where we go to Solomon or we use the 20 Wisdom, Myself, Divine, Cipher Master in Bible. We went with the culture, God, and so we said, okay, only we'll use with 4. You could go up to 4 if you could afford them, and this, that, and right? Now, when you do the knowledge, when I do the knowledge, I'm going like, okay, that would have never happened. But the back end wouldn't have happened, but they was throwing monkey wrenches. All the Wisdom, Myself, Divine, Cipher Master threw monkey wrenches from the gate. We were too young to see it. We didn't know that's what they were doing. And so they threw the wrench in then and pretty much shut it down. That's how it got shut down. They all rejected it, and then between that and us doing other slips, striving our best to make ends meet and all that, because this is before we had established ourselves economically, socially, politically, mentally, educationally. Like we hadn't finished yet. We was learning it as we were doing it. That's why we were going to those other orders and getting their lessons that was our lessons, because all the orders had the original man's lessons. That's the way we understood it. So all the original orders had the original man's lessons, and we were supposed to go get them and come back home, because we was the youngest of all the nations that finally got it together, right? And got knowledge of self. Because I never disclaimed all the other nations. I think everybody has a semblance of what the system considers, and not their system. Our system considers knowledge of self. We know the difference between knowledge of self and awareness of what's going on with the original people. Not only just in the wilderness of North America. At one time it was that. But now we kind of more have a global view of what's going on with the original people, and we see it in a global manifestation. So everybody's, whatever lessons they have, if they adhere to them, it automatically boycotts the devil, is the point I'm making. And the only time we fall victim in these modern days when the Wisdom, Myself, Divine, Cipher Master doesn't want to adhere to the culture I guard. And so that's why we're in the position we're in now, because basically the foundation of the hair and things like that, the original man has already broke away from the European. He isn't running into the European churches. I mean, we got those pimp brothers but they're the ones drawing the sisters in there. If you go to the average black church in the wilderness of North America, the one with the Bill Powers in it, especially, that's who's going to be in there, is the Bill Powers, right? Because if you in there and you true and living, you must be in there fishing. Because if you ain't, then you a Bill Power too. So, right? So that's what I'm saying. We be compromising as original man with the wisdom ourselves, because we be having a father Asiatic master. Our Lord, why? So, right, we used to cut it short in the old days, right? That would have been my father Asiatic master. And Dumar would say, don't Don't do that. Say it all the way out. And we would say, all right, we would do it. Then when he wasn't there, we would go back to cutting it short again. So it is what it is. It's just funny that when we see the youth now doing what they do, we be against it. I knew it was going to come around. Where you get to say the things you heard your grandparents and your parents say. Now you want to say them, right? So I said all that to say that Allah said that if you don't change, and the universe said it too, and all the lessons point towards change and adaptation. So this is why I keep saying that we have to adapt to the fact that the European colonizer has become way more sophisticated in the game, and he has a jump on us because every time you get a chance to climb to the level of just equality with him, equal parity on an equal playing field, he kills the person that makes that happen. So it's only a echo of what is left, a shadow of what is left. Because the nation wouldn't be like it is now if all the different leaders of those nations were still here. Even if it didn't work out the way they wanted, if they were physically still here, they still do things different. They elevate to the next level, right? If Allah wouldn't have been here just those little bit of time, he was only there a little bit of time, he automatically pretty much had the package to save all the orphans. He had an orphan package. He saved all the orphans, whether they were physically orphaned, mentally orphaned, or whether it, because when they be saying single parent, that's kind of like an orphan because the male is not in the household. He has the master key. If only she's in the household, you automatically an orphan. That's why in the original culture, the original man, you wouldn't be an orphan long because they would say, well, and that somebody would take you on, take her on and you on. See, but in today's society, what they do is they bear witness to the European colonizer. So that's why I said, what comes with that here? But here, when they automatically don't like their hair, then other things come with it to a degree. So you'll see it come in degrees, like, you won't be able to match it up with the social structure and the construct that we in unless you've been through it. Then you'll say, oh, that's what it is. So with that, you're going to see snuffleupagus, you're going to see perm, you're going to see anything but the natural look. Any way I could do other than natural, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be ashamed of letting anybody see it. They'll have that shame of their natural, not even want you to see it like that in its natural form. They'll be ashamed of it. And that's the key. That when they stop not liking their hair, they'll come to the level of the original man. But we got to come to the level of rejecting when they don't bear witness to their own beauty. We don't need to enforce that, reinforce that they're not, that their beauty and its natural level isn't the most beautiful. And it would be physically, mentally, but they won't eat the right food. That's why you be looking like a wisdom tooth, because you don't eat right and exact, because you don't adhere to the first mathematical equation. The dietary law is the opening. You think it ain't that important, but it's one of the most important things, because you got to be able to eat spiritual food, food on the soul plane, food on the physical plane, food on the mental plane, all the different planes of existence and realities. You have to eat the food that is right and exact on those particular planes that are being made manifest. If you don't have the intestinal fortitude to do it with simple shit like no grain, no starch, no soy, no dairy, no sugar, no swine, only split hoof and chew a cud, and don't be eating no birds that are omnivores unless you are raising them, unless you know they're free range, See, and soon as they say free range, now the question comes in, are they really free? Because if they're free, they're automatically going to become an omnivore if they walk of themselves. So if they walk of themselves and they become, and they're omnivores, which is their nature, then the rules and regulations which are being made manifest, showing and proving how to eat to live, based on reference points. We'll give you reference points. So right now we're going into Leviticus and Deuteronomy because that's what most black people could really adhere to and have easy access of going and checking out Leviticus 11 themselves. And you tell me the cockatrice is right and exact? You didn't eat the cockatrice as a person with knowledge of self. Knowledge of self don't eat the cockatrice. Snake bird. Chicken. You don't eat that. All that. None of that. Well, nobody really eat roosters. Hell, you never know the way they fucking putting anything in the food. But I'm saying all that to say that the colonizer, even when you think you eating beef, that is not the split of ventura cud that the Bible and Quran are talking about, first degree and 1 in 40. It is not talking about that one that you see. That one you see is a made cow. He a grafted cow. Any live grafted germ from original is devil. All that is all made. He made all that. Everything go back to its natural state. Like if we do the Book of Eli, that's why I like the Book of Eli, because it makes everything go back to where it should be. Rubber band bounce back out. And that's how you'll know which plants and animals they'll be able to keep their herd, and there'll still be a manifestation. They'll be there. But his man-made corn and his man-made wheat and his man-made potatoes and his man-made sugar and his man-made soy, none of those will survive in the world of Eli, because we'll be back to the natural manifestation, which if you look at the fingerprint of the ancients, their fingerprint is not the same as their fingerprint of the colonizer. And the colonizer tries to make it look like the ancients didn't do shit. And the ones who are saying that the ancients did it, they're not telling you what family of people the ancients were. All they had to do is tell everybody all the ancients had lambs. Well, here, you can see it when you look at it's like be looking like a peppercorn in a circle, and it's tight like that. That's how they drew it in those days. You can see how they drew the Europeans here. Go look at the statues. You can tell it. They hide, and if you look at the back of them, they hide all those from you. You go see the excavation sites, you'll see they got cornrows in their hair, and you'll be able to see it. They don't want you to see that. But we've been telling you, I mean, you could get the books. The books will show and prove if you can't get to it. But you could go online nowadays and say, I want to see what J.A. Rogers wrote. Trust me, you could find some free stuff he put out there that's PDF that somebody did. So you can't say you don't know. You just don't want to know. And the wisdom, myself, divine type of master, she likes the comfortable feeling that she feels riding with the colonizer. Because to get back with the original man, it's going to be back work again. We're going to have to really make moves, because the Europeans are going to automatically see we come together and get at us. And they want to be selfish and not give to their self what they give to their sisters, and what they give to their sisters what they give to their self. They don't want to do that, because if it's 11-1, so they're saying we want to go 1-on-1 like the colonizer told us to do, and leave the other 10 sisters with nobody. See how it doesn't work the way they want to do it. You have to do it the other way, because one, it's going to be even less than 11. It's going to be more than that, because what ends up happening is the numbers dwindle due to society's manifestation. You're going to have people that one way, this way, that way, they in the sign, That's why I said, yeah, the lessons are absolutely with the knowledge degree in the 1 to 10 and the wisdom degree in the 1 to 10. They're absolutely right and exact on their manifestation of how they're making it born. That's nation on nation. But when you start talking individually, you're going to really see the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. You're going to have to make judgment calls and split decisions like you playing football. You're the quarterback. That's how it's going to be moving like that. Or you're on the defensive, you linebacker, man, you listen, you calling plays, you telling them what to do, because it's changing right there in front of you. So it's like you driving, you're on the freeway. Things are happening, you got to make moves. It's on and popping. right? That's what's popping off. We're in the middle of a war Armageddon. It is on, and I know y'all don't act like it's not. We not. You too busy partying and funning and dancing and buying watches and fancy cars and doing all the nice fancy shit as if you reaping the benefits. You only got out of Jim Crow in the late 60s, early 70s. That hasn't been that long. So you still indulging in the fact that you got out of that. But look what it cost you, right? It cost you all of your leaders. By the time you were at the point where you really felt like you was free, I'm free, all your leaders were dead. That's right, all of them were dead. The ones that they left us with wasn't our leaders. They was the wingman and Beta's guys. They weren't wings. They weren't the lead runners. They took over the slot because the lead runners got wiped out by CONTELPRO. You didn't see that? And then we had the jealousy come in. It was like in the cipher where I said, oh, see, y'all was folding on me from the gate. When the first shit went down and you went and ate that ham sandwich, that means you was on the enemy side then. We had an enemy inside the camp then. And then you persuaded the younger people to go with you because the older people didn't even know you were that way. The real talk, we didn't know you were that way, and so we let you have influence on the children. But had we really been old enough to catch on, like if our elders wouldn't have been wiped out by CONTELPRO, we would have caught on to what you was doing, and we wouldn't have let you do it. We would have shut you down. You know, but I said, oh, you had folded. See, when you can admit that you had folded and played that neutrality role, and how did that work out for you? That's what I always say. You did that, and now you look your world and you look at the people who didn't do neutrality well. And so you notice that the ones who didn't do that neutrality world, their world turned out better than the ones who did that neutrality shit. See? And it's either end. They either was like the leaders and they got took out, or they knew to go 007, and so they was able to survive. Like the Jedi. Once they did that 66 on them, just like Kevin Samuel said, they did that 66. The Wisdom, Myself, Divine Cipher Master went to the dark side right with him. She went with the Sith. The dark side actually is the light, because the triple darkness and the light is one and the same. But she went with the Sith. The Sith used the Force in a way that is to make you a slave, and the Jedi use it in a way that is dealing with peace. And the Grey Jedi, they are the in-between because they're able to check the Sith better. Jedi are too peaceful. They can't hardly check the Sith. They got to be more like Windu to check the Sith. Yoda to check the Sith. It can't just be no regular old Jedi trying to check the Sith, because the Sith run in twos. Same way how when you look at the culture runs in twos when you talking about Jedi and the Padawan, and then you see the Sith run in two, and then because it's a teacher and a student, and you've seen the knight and the squire. See, it's the power of two. This is not new, right? And so the power of two also works with the knowledge and the wisdom. You see where I'm going, right? See the correlation? So the knowledge and the wisdom, man and woman, the power of two. But in today's society, she and us have already been broken to the degree when we get too scared of the environment, we might slip back into the devil's hands. So based on trial and error and past experience, that's what happened. The power of two. They didn't like the discipline of the culture I guard, 3/4, this, that, They liked this Sodom and Gomorrah look. And so if they like that, and then they've already been exposed to the perm and all of them are telling each other that's the way to do it, and they reassuring each other with the unconsciousness. They reassure unconsciousness to each other. And how you'll see it is when you see that they do not have their natural look. If they're taking care of their nails but not putting the crazy nail on top of their own nail, then they're in the right and exact state. If they're leaving their hair natural and if they know how to deal with the psychic barrier that the devil put up, you grow your locks, because it'll do exactly the same thing that the Europeans here be trying to do, as far as be all long and down your back and going everywhere. But then that's work to do that, but it's less work because it's yours than it is if you trying to do that perm shit and then put that weave shit in there, and then you just ruining the nation, because that is not us. We don't know who the fuck is who when walking forward before we used to, because all they did was use the hot comb, and we still could tell our hair. And the body was right and exact in those days. But now they got so much going on. They mostly the ones who had money might go and get BBLs and all that, but the rest of them are too broken. They look like wisdom teeth to me. They look just like a wisdom teeth. And then they go get a BBL and them legs will still be like wisdom teeth legs. And it's just crazy. I'm like, what are y'all doing? That's not to get no man and husband and procreate and bring the nation up from the horizontal to a living perpendicular. That's not how you do it. Following the devil, the man come home with knowledge of self. First thing you do is opposition to it. The first thing they do is they got opposition to knowledge of self. You always got to fight with her first to make knowledge of self in the house. And most of the time, you end up just shutting her off, getting a whole nother. I ain't fucking with you. You crazy. You ain't even trying to get out the devil's hands. You want to be in his hand. You want to drag us in his hand. You want our children in his hand. Because now we'll be like, well, if you want to do that, I still want my children to be with white Jesus. See, this shit is crazy. That's what's going on. We at that war that we got. You be blaming it on the... No, let's start off with the root. What are you doing? Do you got perm? Then you still on the devil's side. Do you got weave? Then you still on the devil's side. You ain't came into the realization of that simple speech Malcolm gave. Who made you hate your hair? Who made you hate the texture of your hair? Who made you hate the shade of your skin? Who made you hate the features on your face? Who made you hate that? And so now that you know who made you hate it, then you know you shouldn't be hating it. And I'm going to show you how knowledge of self works. In 24 hours, if they went knowledge of self, just for 24 hours, right? Really, it would be better if they did it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to do knowledge of self for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right? So automatically, all the weaves get kicked to the curb. All the perms get kicked to the curb. All that fake nail shit get kicked to the curb. All that fake eyelash, snuffleupagus look, that gets kicked to the curb. And then that's going to change the industry immediately, where you don't see your power, but you have crazy power, right? And then we take it to the next level and do homeschool. That's going to cripple them. And we do midwife. That's going to shut everything down. You see what I'm talking about, what knowledge of self does? Just on that side. The original man been doing his part. But we can't go but so far without her saying, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get this perm out. Let's stop fucking with this weave shit. We need counseling, because we really don't like our hair. And we really don't like our own look. And we think that we not really dressed up, even if we wearing our natural. That's just so we can let it breathe, and then we gonna put that bullshit back in. I hear them talking. I'm listening to them, what they say. And they think it's them promoting it and pushing it. The dudes ain't pushing it. We've been back. We ain't used conch since Malcolm's days. We don't do that. Maybe a few of us do it still, like maybe the James Brown type people and Michael Jackson, them kind. And they'll do all that cutting their face and lightening their skin like that baseball player. And that's all self-hatred. They want to look closer to the European colonizer. It's notorious when you if your ancestry has colonizers from the Iberian Peninsula. They really make it bad for you, because they make you feel like you down, but to improve the nation, you got to be more European look. They teach it, they manifest it, but now we're coming to the culture. We're realizing what happened, and we're pushing away from it. But the original people in the wilderness of North America, these 50 states, you could take control of a lot of finance. Just the weave and the snuffleupagus eyes and them fake ass nails, you could shut that down. Man, you could shut whole nations down and making money off of that. Like, you could shut them all down if you just went to, I'm black and I'm proud, Black Power, Afro. Just go to that level. We ain't even at that level no more. We digressed. Right? The sisters ain't wearing afros and all that no more. They wearing that perm crazy looking hair, all kind of crazy makeup, all kind of crazy thing. When they come home and they take all that off, you look, you don't even know who that person is. You be going, who was that? Who are you? Why are you here? Where my girl at? I can't with y'all. Anyway, divine understanding, born of. I was just saying that's what happened with the ancient order when they said, well, what happened? Why did it turn into like a talk show and knowledge itself with basically like speeches and like that? Why did it turn into that? I mean, I got personal students that I'm enlightening and this, that, and that, but it's nothing like what it should have been. And they said, why? And I said, because the wisdom myself, divine sacred master, didn't want to do it. I didn't want to, all of us in the order, you telling me when we look at each other, you telling me that. Because it was a bunch of us divines in there. So each one of y'all say, no, divine, he couldn't do it. The other divine, he couldn't do it. I was trying to do it. I couldn't do it. I said, try to fail. It didn't work. I could. So those three divines right there couldn't even do it. Right? If you go through each letter in the alphabet, we pretty much have at least some of that. Ask them if they was able to do it. Then look at the next generation and come back up from, if you do wisdom equality, that'd be zigzag zig. He couldn't do it. If you go to wisdom power, right? Why? Wisdom understanding, wisdom, right? The wisdom culture is unknown, the wisdom power. Why? The question most asked is justified. Why does he like the devil? Why does the devil call our people African? Why are so many people still dead? All that, look through it. And even then you say when you go to the betas, what happened with them? They've been compromised. From the gate, they told their girl, no, it's only one earth, and all that old craziness they was saying to justify the fact that they was listening to her. Well, she said she was going to be the earth, and so she told me the only way she going to do it is if I got one earth. So fuck the other 10, right? The other 10 black women. We don't give a fuck about them. We just care about you, your one. See how it sounds crazy when you think of it on a national scale of the nation? Oh, wait. Y'all ain't ready for all that, man. Y'all know what we ready for. You just telling us we ain't ready based on your ideology of what's ready and what ain't. Your shit's based on the devil. So you don't really know. Every original man, pretty much, wants at least the earth and the moon. It's inside his nature to want that. Even if he can't do it, he wants to do it. Those few that don't want to do it, that's because they wingmen anyway. They betas. Most original men are not betas, though. That's why the colonizers don't like us. It's not that we don't have betas, but our average coming out the womb, you might have 3 sons, they all 3 might be alphas. It's just the way, and they'll have come out and they'll all have 3 betas. See? Our shit ain't the same. We alpha from the gate without trying to dominate people. We are alpha culture, alpha creed. Everything we do is the trend centers. So it is what it is. But they try to make us look like we ain't do shit, and then we start believing we ain't do shit, and then you can see it in our wisdom, our self-divine cyber master. Look at her. If she start eating right and exact, she won't look like Snuffleupagus. She won't need Snuffleupagus. Now her body will be so bad that it'll be rocking everything else. Her skin won't be all toe the fuck up, and we'll be understanding which each tribal look has. So, and then they'll know. So they call, the more the tribal look is more lamb wool, the more they say it's not right and exact. And we agree with them. And the more it looks closer to a softer feature that they could say is more closer to the Ethiopian looking up, going into, and I ain't talking about, I'm talking about these markets. If you go to Ethiopia now, that look, they don't mind that look. Even if it's the shade of the skin is triple darkness. They don't like it when they got the other tribal looks. Because remember now, we the foundation to the planet, so we're the most diverse. So lamb's wool is the tropical Capricorn to the tropical Cancer, and the major part of us is the equator, but we expand from the equator out. It's not the way they teach. We teach this best part of the planet Earth. That's from the tropical Capricorn to the tropical Cancer, going all the way around. That's ours. That's the best part. Lead the code. That's how it works, see? So anyway, divine understanding, born alone. I'm out of time and I gotta go. I'm about to hit this just as I was born. You know how we do it, get this money and all that. Yeah, I was looking at the paperwork, so I'm giving y'all that last little run so we could do that run where I'm showing y'all that the economic part. So grab the Robin Hood, right? Y'all need to get the Robin Hood. Public, we started with that. I like their classes, but we don't use it. But you could get Public or Robin Hood or both. You get your Cash App because they do it too. And PayPal is part of the program. I'm just telling you the ones that's told us the list that we're using to do with the economics, right? Because you know the trader profession, you got that on paper. Some of us is already in money, and so we need to know how to shift it, this, that, and the third, right? You knew the foundation with the profit and 120 where it told you the gold and silver bullion, right? You knew that, so you doing that as an investment. You can go right over there and buy it online now. You can buy it, they send it right to your house. You don't have to let them store it. You can store it in your own little safe. You go on Amazon, buy you a little safe, and you start storing your own. How much can you get? $250,000 is only one little brick. You ain't gonna probably have a brick, say it's like as big as a mug. You can accumulate that much silver, gold, whatever, and then you doing your thing, right? The next hit was real estate is okay, but I like doing with the real estate when you get Fund Me. That's the app we were using so you could invest in real estate without having to deal with the taxes and all that other crazy shit, the overhead and everything. Unless you're going with a multiple family dwelling and then you taking it to that level, so that'll cause income. It won't be on you, it'll be on the tenants, but that's still not helping the nation. Like when we coming out, that's like an individual. I help me, right? So you want to get the AppMex app so you could buy your gold and silver, right? And bullion and palladium and what other precious metals, right? You want at the bottom level, when you first really learn and you want to get your Coinbase, get the paid one, and get a decentralized bank account. That way, you'll know if they decentralized, because when you look on the thing when they say this bank, you'll see all the real banks that's really connected to the centralization. And then you got those. Remember when we would be, in the old days, we'd have those accounts like Chime and all them kind of accounts. Those are decentralized to a certain degree. And from there, you can move into like the Coinbase and PayPal and Robinhood and Public, right? You get you a wallet and all that. You get you one of those Experian apps. You don't got to join it as far as the paid part, but you use it to see what's happening with your SSN. Then you could go in there and you lock it down because you know you're going to need an EIN too. Those kind of economic moves you're making, right? Look that up, because they knew about it when we was in the streets studying with the guy Brewer and Jamaica Ave. We was over there. Yeah, Guy Brewer 108, 109, that area. We was studying a lot of that law over there. And so when people would be coming from up north, they might got a charge that wasn't right and exact. It was like political prisoners, so they learned that law library too. And so you learn how to represent yourself due to the necessity, right? That took place. That's another part of trade or profession. That's what I'm saying. The package is complete. All we need is the wisdom of self-divine cipher master to get on board. And you'll know she's going to give up them naked clothes. She'll be on 3/4. See how all the nations do that? That's what I be saying about now. So you can tell the nation by their wisdom of self-divine cipher masters. They wisdom running around here naked, or is she in 3/4? If she's in 3/4, she's striving to help the nation go up. If she's naked, nah. Even if you're saying you neutral, you still moving in 360 in the wrong direction. You gotta go positive 360, not negative 360. That's 720 degrees in the wrong direction. Right? That's what the God said. The whole day we was there, the whole time, all we kept doing was crying and being negative and this, that, and the third. I don't have this, and I lost that, and I ain't got this. Don't nobody want to hear all that. That's why, pardon me, I go to Elijah, right? That's why everybody was making moves and doing their thing. But anyway, ancient or free Asiatics, Cinnamon 7, peace, divine understanding, born to learn. Now we do it, set the record straight.